On the surface, Sam Altman is the soft-spoken visionary behind ChatGPT. But behind the scenes, he's a power player with a secret fortune estimated to be around $2 billion and a set of strange daily habits that he uses to shape the future. We're about to expose the hidden empire of the man who is quietly building our new reality. He is the face of the AI revolution, the man whose company, OpenAI, unleashed a technology so powerful it has rewritten the rules of our world. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, presents himself as a thoughtful, almost reluctant leader, guiding humanity toward a future of artificial general intelligence with caution and care. He speaks in measured tones about the immense benefits and the existential risks. He appears before Congress not as a titan demanding deregulation, but as a concerned steward asking for responsible oversight. But that public persona is only half the story. It's a carefully constructed image that masks a far more complex and ambitious reality. The truth is, Sam Altman is one of the most powerful and mysterious figures in Silicon Valley, a master strategist who has quietly built a personal empire that goes far beyond artificial intelligence. While he famously earns a modest salary of just over $76,000 from OpenAI and holds no equity in the company, his personal fortune is estimated to be around $2 billion. This isn't just wealth, it's a war chest. And it wasn't built on the success of ChatGPT. It's the result of over a decade of shrewd, high-stakes bets on the foundational technologies that will define our future. From his sprawling multi-million-dollar real estate compounds in San Francisco, Napa, and Hawaii, to his deep-pocketed investments in radical science like nuclear fusion and extending human life, Altman operates on a scale that's hard to wrap your head around. He's a man who balances the future of humanity on one hand and a portfolio of over 400 companies on the other. In this video, we're tracing the money, exposing the network, and decoding the strange philosophies that fuel his relentless drive. This is the story of how a Stanford dropout became the kingmaker of Silicon Valley and how he's now using a secret empire to build our collective future, whether we are ready or not. The man building tomorrow, you have to look at his yesterday. Samuel Harris Altman was born on April 22, 1985 in Chicago, but his story really begins in St. Louis, Missouri. Raised in a suburban middle-class Jewish family, it was clear from an early age that he was wired differently. By age 8, he wasn't just playing with his computer, he was learning to program it and take it apart, a fascination with understanding how things work that would define his entire career. His intellect was impossible to miss. He attended the John Burroughs School, a prestigious prep school in St. Louis, where he was known for being ahead of the curve. It was also where he first learned how to navigate tricky social situations. When he was 17, after some students protested a National Coming Out Day speaker, Altman, who is openly gay, didn't just stand by, he stepped up, came out to the entire school and championed the cause. It was a bold move that hinted at the conviction he'd later bring to the tech world. After high school, the path seemed obvious: Stanford University, the unofficial feeder school for Silicon Valley. He enrolled in computer science, putting himself at the center of the tech universe. But for someone like Altman, the classroom could only hold his attention for so long. The real action was happening off-campus, in the garages and dorm rooms where the next big thing was being born. In 2005, at just 19 years old, he made a classic founder move. He dropped out. Along with his then-partner Nick Sevo, he co-founded his first company, Looped. Looped was a location-based social networking app, an idea that was way ahead of its time. It let users share their location with friends, a feature we now see in apps like Find My Friends and Google Maps. The idea was promising enough to get serious attention, and Looped was accepted into the very first batch of a brand new startup accelerator called Y Combinator. As CEO, Altman was a natural fundraiser, securing over $30 million from big-name investors like Sequoia Capital. He was living the founder's dream, working so hard that he later joked he got scurvy from a terrible diet. But despite the funding and the hype, Looped never quite took off. It was a brilliant idea that was just a little too early. In 2012, Looped was sold to the Green Dot Corporation for $43.4 million. For many, a multi-million-dollar exit before 30 would be the peak of their career. For Sam Altman, it was just the beginning. The sale gave him his first real capital, the seed money for a much, much larger fortune. More importantly, his time at Looped had given him a front-row seat to Silicon Valley's hit-making machine, Y Combinator. He went in as a founder. He would soon come back as its king. After selling Looped, Sam Altman didn't start another company. Instead, he went back to where it all began, Y Combinator. But this time, he wasn't the one pitching. In 2011, he joined as a part-time partner, but his rise was incredibly fast. By February 2014, at just 28, he was hand-picked by co-founder Paul Graham to be its new president. This wasn't just a promotion. YC, or Y Combinator, is the most prestigious startup accelerator in the world. It's a boot camp for the brightest minds in tech, offering seed funding and mentorship for a small piece of the company. Being president of YC meant you were the gatekeeper to Silicon Valley's future, the person deciding which dreams got a shot at becoming reality. Under Altman, YC's ambition exploded. He didn't just want to fund a few dozen startups, he wanted to turn YC into an assembly line for world-changing companies. He expanded the program, aiming for 1,000 new companies a year and pushing beyond software into hard tech, startups tackling huge challenges in energy, biotech, and manufacturing. He also launched YC Continuity, a fund to pour hundreds of millions into YC's most successful graduates, and YC Research, a non-profit lab for long-term projects, a model he would later use for OpenAI. As president, Altman became the ultimate kingmaker. He had a knack for spotting genius and the conviction to back it. The list of companies that blew up under his watch reads like a who's who of tech today: Airbnb, Dropbox, Stripe, and a little social media site called Reddit. His philosophy was simple: bet on the founders. He looked for smart, driven people who were obsessed with their mission. He didn't just write checks, he was a trusted advisor, a strategist who saw the whole board. This position gave him an incredible and very profitable advantage. He had first-hand access to the most promising startups in the world, and he put his own money on the line. In 2012, with his brother Jack, he co-founded a venture firm called Hydrazian Capital. With his mentor, billionaire Peter Thiel, as a major backer, Hydrazian started investing in YC's star graduates. One report claimed the fund put a whopping 75% of its capital into YC companies, creating a powerful feedback loop. Altman's role at YC let him spot the winners, and his personal fund let him cash in. The returns were insane. He once blogged that 5 of his first 40 investments grew to be worth more than 100 times what he put in. This was the engine of his secret fortune. While the world saw him as the headmaster of a tech school, he was quietly building a private investment portfolio that would soon be worth billions. His stakes in Stripe, Reddit, and Airbnb were all growing in value. By the time he stepped down in 2019 to focus on OpenAI, he had already made his mark, but the foundation of his real power was just getting started. This is where Sam Altman's story shifts from public figure to private powerhouse. You'd assume the CEO of a company valued anywhere from $80 billion to over $300 billion would be one of the richest people on Earth. But Sam Altman repeatedly says he owns no equity in OpenAI. His official 2023 salary was just $76,001, which he says is enough to cover his health insurance. This has been a key part of his story. He's not in it for the money. But that narrative, while true about OpenAI, hides a bigger picture. Sam Altman is a billionaire with a net worth estimated to be around $2 billion. That fortune wasn't made from AI. It was made by building a sprawling private investment empire that's now funding some of the most radical bets on the planet. His wealth is managed through a web of funds like Hydrazian Capital, Alt Capital, and Apollo projects. Through these, Altman has bought stakes in over 400 companies, creating a portfolio valued at an estimated $2.8 billion. This isn't your typical portfolio. Altman makes extreme, high-conviction bets on world-altering technologies. Two investments in particular show the scale of his ambition. He reportedly invested a massive $180 million of his own money into Retro Biosciences, a startup trying to extend the human lifespan. He also reportedly poured $375 million into Helion Energy, a company working to build the world's first commercial nuclear power plant. At one point, Altman said these two bets on stopping death and creating infinite energy made up nearly all of his liquid net worth. It's a move that says everything about his long-term vision. His empire is also physical. Altman has amassed a real estate portfolio worth over $124 million. His main home is a compound on San Francisco's exclusive Russian Hill. In 2020, he bought a mansion for $27 million, but then sued, calling it a lemon with shoddy construction. Instead of backing out, he bought 3 adjacent homes for $12.8 million each in early 2024, creating a massive private enclave reportedly used as a war room during his ousting from OpenAI. For weekends, he and his husband, Australian software engineer Oliver Mulheron, have a 950-acre ranch in Napa Valley, bought in 2020 for $15.7 million. But the crown jewel was a breathtaking estate on the Big Island of Hawaii. Acquired in 2021 for $43 million, the estate was where he and Mulheron held their private wedding in January 2024. In late 2025, the estate was listed for sale at $49 million, shining a spotlight on his hidden wealth. This combination of a multi-billion-dollar investment portfolio and a 9-figure real estate empire paints a picture of a man playing a different game. He isn't just the CEO of OpenAI. He's a one-man venture capital firm with the power to build the future he envisions. While his private empire grew, Sam Altman's public life was about to focus on one world-changing idea. In 2015, alongside figures like Elon Musk, he co-founded OpenAI. It started as a non-profit lab with a noble mission to ensure artificial general intelligence, or AGI, benefits all of humanity. The idea was to prioritize safety over profit. But in 2019, things changed. Sam stepped down from YC to become OpenAI's full-time CEO, and the organization created a new capped profit company. This hybrid structure allowed it to take huge investments, most notably billions from Microsoft, while still being governed by the non-profit board. It was a controversial model, but it worked. With Sam in charge, OpenAI started releasing technologies that blew people's minds. First came GPT-3, a language model that could write essays and code. Then came DALL-E 2, which could create stunning images from text. And then, in November 2022, they released ChatGPT. The impact was immediate. For the first time, anyone could use this powerful AI through a simple chat window. It became the fastest-growing app in history, hitting 100 million users in 2 months. It kicked off a global arms race in Silicon Valley, with every major tech company scrambling to catch up. Suddenly, Sam Altman wasn't just a big name in tech, he was a global icon, testifying before Congress and meeting with world leaders. But his true power was shown not by his success, but by a crisis. In November 2023, the world was shocked when OpenAI's board fired him. The board claimed he had not been consistently candid in his communications. What followed was a 5-day corporate thriller. Microsoft, OpenAI's biggest backer, was blindsided and immediately moved to hire Altman. Then, nearly all of OpenAI's 700-plus employees signed a letter threatening to quit and join him unless the board resigned and brought him back. The employee revolt was a stunning show of loyalty. It proved that to them, Altman was the company. Within 5 days, the board gave in. Altman was reinstated as CEO, and a new, more corporate-friendly board was put in place. The coup had failed, and in the process, it had cemented Altman's power more than ever. He had faced down his own overseers and won decisively. He wasn't just the architect of the future, he was now its undisputed commander. This kind of influence isn't an accident. It's forged through a set of deeply ingrained and often strange personal systems. If you're finding this story fascinating, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We explore the minds and strategies of the world's most influential people every week. Now, let's get into the bizarre daily code that runs the man who runs the future. How does one person manage a multi-billion-dollar investment empire, a string of 9-figure properties, and the company leading the AI revolution? For Sam Altman, the answer is a rigid and unconventional daily routine, a personal operating system designed for maximum productivity and, just maybe, a longer life. His day starts not with the sun, but with the intense glare of an LED light. For 10 to 15 minutes every morning, he uses this artificial sunlight, a practice he claims gives him a ridiculous gain in energy and mood. Next up, a large shot of espresso. That's breakfast. Altman practices intermittent fasting, usually going 15 hours without solid food. He skips breakfast entirely, a habit he admits goes against most health advice. He'll have another large espresso after lunch to power through his day. His diet is just as disciplined. A vegetarian since childhood, he avoids sugar and spicy foods. He drinks protein shakes, which he admits he hates, and gets his blood tested quarterly to fine-tune his vitamin intake. His obsession with health goes even further. He has taken the diabetes drug metformin, which some believe has anti-aging properties. He's also a self-professed prepper with a reported stash of guns, gold, and survival supplies for doomsday scenarios. His physical routine is simple and intense: heavy weightlifting 3 times a week and occasional high-intensity interval training. But maybe the most revealing habit is how he thinks. In a world of digital everything, Altman's deepest work happens on paper. He uses small, pocket-sized notebooks to work through hard problems, calling it externalized thinking. He rips out pages, spreads them on a table to see the big picture, and then crumples them up and throws them away when he's done. A physical act of mental clearing. His productivity philosophy is all about momentum. He makes lists for the year, month, and day, and revisits them each morning to refocus. He deliberately keeps his mornings meeting-free, saving that time for deep work when he's most creative. When he does take meetings, he's ruthlessly efficient. He thinks most should be either a quick 15-minute chat or a 2-hour deep dive. Anything in between is usually a waste. Even his sleep is optimized. He uses a sleep tracker and keeps his bedroom cold, dark, and quiet. He's even admitted to using a low dose of sleeping pills or cannabis to make sure he gets the rest he needs to perform at his peak. This whole system, the light therapy, the fasting, the paper notes, the relentless prioritizing, is the engine that runs Sam Altman. It's the personal algorithm he uses to build his empire and, by extension, our future. For a man with a fortune estimated at around $2 billion and control over a technology that could reshape society, giving back isn't just charity, it's part of the narrative. Sam Altman's approach to philanthropy is just as ambitious as his investment strategy. In May 2024, Altman and his husband, Oliver Mullerin, signed the Giving Pledge. It's a promise made by some of the world's wealthiest people to give away the majority of their wealth. In their pledge letter, they wrote, "We would not be making this pledge if it weren't for the hard work, brilliance, generosity, and dedication to improve the world of many people that built the scaffolding of society that let us get here. We commit to pay it forward and do what we can to build the scaffolding up a little higher." Their stated goal is to fund technology that helps create abundance for people. This isn't about traditional charity. It's about investing in tech-driven solutions like AI safety, universal basic income, and fundamental research. Altman has been a huge supporter of universal basic income, or UBI. He's funded research and even proposed a futuristic version called Universal Basic Compute, where a powerful AGI would generate so much wealth that every citizen could get dividends, not just as money, but as access to the AI's power itself. His open research initiative has reportedly given millions in cash to thousands of Americans for a large-scale UBI study. A lot of his giving, not surprisingly, goes toward the safe development of AI. Through OpenAI, he's overseen millions in grants for AI safety research, including a $1 million fund in 2024. But like everything with Altman, it's complicated. Some see his focus on tech-driven abundance and UBI as a genuine attempt to solve future inequality. Others see it as a convenient narrative for a world where AI automates millions of jobs, concentrating even more wealth in the hands of those who own the technology. Is his philanthropy a genuine effort to build the scaffolding up a little higher? Or is it a calculated move to shape a future where his creations are not just accepted, but seen as essential? The man who built a secret empire is now writing the blueprint for how that empire's wealth will engineer our tomorrow. So, who is Sam Altman? We've seen the kid who took computers apart in St. Louis, the Stanford dropout who built a multi-million-dollar startup, and the kingmaker at Y Combinator who secretly built his own fortune. We've uncovered the hidden empire, an investment portfolio worth an estimated $2.8 billion, built on early bets in companies like Stripe and Reddit, an empire that includes more than $124 million in real estate, from a controversial command center in San Francisco to a private paradise in Hawaii. We've watched the architect of the future unleash ChatGPT, survive a boardroom coup that only made him stronger, and live by a bizarre personal code of biohacking and analog thinking. Sam Altman is a man of contradictions, the public steward of AI who runs a private empire of staggering scale, the visionary building a future of abundance for all, while his personal bets aim to conquer death and create infinite energy, the leader who earns a minimal salary yet commands a fortune that gives him almost total freedom. He has dedicated his public life to building AI for good and has pledged to give his wealth away. But he's also a master strategist who understands power better than almost anyone. He isn't just part of the future, he's building its foundations, placing his bets on the technologies that will define our existence. This leads to the final, unavoidable question. As he stands at the intersection of unimaginable wealth, unparalleled influence, and a technology with the power for utopia or dystopia, you have to wonder, with a hidden empire and the world's most powerful AI at his fingertips, what is Sam Altman's ultimate endgame?